오지 말고 그랬단 말이요.
The film is about the death, or at least the decline in popularity of the classic Korean music genre of pansori. Now, if you don't know what pansori is, it's kind of a mixture of the vocals from the B-52s, bands like Suburban Lawns, Kendrick Lamar's rapping style, Axl Rose's screams, and all the generic Asian flute music that you heard in those movies, in a bunch of other films. So, put that all together, you got pansori. If you can't fathom what that would sound like, just go on YouTube. And the film is also about the importance of its preservation. Now, most films try to use a big climax, with thousands of people ending up appreciating the art form in the film. With Seopyeonjae, they basically do the complete opposite, but it actually has a stronger effect. Instead of focusing on convincing millions of people of the power of the music, it simply focuses on three people: a father, a daughter, and a son. And the film simply focuses on why the music is important for these people. Contrasting their actions and their speech when music's playing compared to when the music's not playing, or taking long, patient shots of a full 5-minute song sequence and process, just showing you how great the music is and how it really affects these people in the long-term scene. And showing the extreme conflicts of the family, and showing how they still stick together despite those conflicts for the music. With these really simple, basic ideas, they really show with extreme modesty and extreme minimalism the power of the music and how it's really affecting these people who love the sound. By the ending, there is a reunion between the sister and the brother, and it's just fueled by the music. The personalized portrayal of the power of the music comes off as a much more effective method than just bringing this extravagant, over-the-top ending where everybody's listening and clapping to the music. No, that seems ingenuine. When you personalize the music, when you make the music more personal for certain people, the power seems more resonative. It seems more powerful. That's what I'm trying to say. And to me, this is probably the best Korean film I've ever seen. Just saying. It's better than Old Boy, in my opinion. God damn it.
Yes! Yes! Oh! 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 Oh, God. Oh.
I'll have what she's having.
Now, after Woody Allen's success, a lot of people tried to copy the formula of the New Yorkian cynic talking about relationships. In my opinion, most of them failed, especially in the 80s. But when Harry Met Sally not only succeeded, but it actually provided a great alternative to the people, to people who didn't really enjoy Woody Allen's aesthetic. Instead of the bleak, neurotic world of Woody Allen's films, when Harry Met Sally gives you a more vibrant, more optimistic point of view that both strengthens and takes down either side, both men and women, while also dealing with the same themes that the Woody Allen movies do. Can women and men be friends? What does love mean in the modern world? Just a bunch of complicated shit that even I can't really relate to, but I like how they deal with it. And in the end, nobody has a perfect argument. The film just shows the essential struggles that these people need to go through in order to be honest with themselves and with each other, which is a pretty genuine and mature idea for a film that's really just kind of this blueprint for the modern-day chick flick. Even though I hate that phrase, that's the best way I can explain it. It's really the blueprint of the modern-day chick flick. And the acting's amazing. Billy Crystal, Woody Allen's perspective, stuck in a late-night talk show host. He's great. Meg Ryan is definitely amazing. The woman, she's basically, I mean, yeah, she plays the same role over and over and over again, but she kind of paved the way for what we usually think of as the rom-com woman protagonist. And her performance is so good that even to this day, everybody's just trying to be, Sally Albright? It's Sally Albright, right? Yeah, they're just trying to be Sally Albright. Every single rom-com that I see that comes out these days, it's just another Sally Albright. And in this film, the writing is so good that it actually feels real compared to those fucking garbage movies. And every joke is really just either really nuanced and really, it has a huge build-up to it, or the punchline is so blunt that it cuts really deep. The film does get uncomfortable. It gets confrontational, and not in this generic way. They actually deal with the conflicts like adults, or maybe at times as just like children, making their struggles seem more real. It's kind of sort of the peak when it comes to what we usually call the modern-day chick flick. And this film is so good that, to me, it kind of goes beyond that term. It really should be respected as one of the best comedies ever made. It's way too well written, way too well acted for it to just be called this derogatory term in the film business.
I don't think you ought to be doing this to yourself, Andy. This is just shitty pipe dreams. I mean, Mexico is way the hell down there, and you're in here, and that's the way it is.
Yeah, right. That's the way it is. It's down there, and I'm in here. I guess it comes down to a simple choice, really. Get busy living, or get busy dying.
Okay, for most movie lovers of the internet age, The Shawshank Redemption probably has a certain commanding presence to it. It's been the #1 film on the IMDb charts since forever, and although the IMDb charts isn't really the proper criteria for movies in general, I don't really like the listing of the film, listing in that chart, but the fact that over 1 million movie lovers decide to vote this film as the greatest ever kind of means something. It has to mean something. And I'm kind of part of that group. I don't think it's the greatest movie ever made, but even when I saw it, I actually watched it twice in a row because it just amazed me on my first viewing. So let me try and explain why this film is great and why it really does resonate with so many people. To me, it's one of the most meditative and calm and steady films that I've ever seen. It really makes sure to make you, as an audience, feel every year and every day and how special any mundane event feels. The Marriage of Figaro scene is a great example of that. The scene where they're just drinking beer on the roof is also just this quiet, contemplative moment. And it also takes time to build every event with patience. Whether it's the best example being the scene, the moments where Andy Dufresne sends letters for the library for the prison, and it even indulges in the side characters to build a world in greater detail and with greater sense of sympathy. I'm obviously talking about the scene with Brooks and when he gets out of prison and when he does the thing. And all of this is surrounded by a subtle but effective critique on the corrupted law system. And so with all that said, because the film is in such detail, because we empathize and sympathize with these characters so much, and because it also does a really good job of critiquing the corrupted law system, the redemption at the end, the escape of Andy Dufresne at the end, is not only this cathartic release of an escape, but it's also a victory on a socially conscious state of the socially conscious state of the film. But it's also, what am I trying to say? It's a victory on its socially conscious state and its personally thematic state. The film both has this socially conscious idea of how this film should be done and how the characters should be done. And at the end, it all culminates in this great euphoric scene, and I feel like that just resonated with people. The film is calm, it drives you in. So even at the end, the cliche scene where he's just in the rain, looking up in the sky, it resonates with people. It's such a powerful scene, and the film is a great example of taking one's time to build a relationship with the audience when it comes to movie making. You can take time. You can be patient as long as the ending and the result of it is detailed, relatable, and euphorically cathartic at the end. And as long as the whole thing means something. And to me, that's The Shawshank Redemption. And even though it's like one of the most cliched choices to make when it comes to someone's favorite movies of all time, there's a reason for it, man. It's pretty damn good.
Qu'est-ce que vous avez apporté? Vous devriez laisser tomber Schubert. Pour le moment, le Schoenberg est la seule chose que...
Je me suis battu pour attirer votre attention, Erika. Donnez-moi une chance. Je sais que je ne vous suis pas aussi indifférent que vous voulez le laisser paraître. Mais j'ai négligé mes études pour vous. Mais c'est la vérité. Et même si ça vous semble ridicule, depuis ce récital, chez les Blonsky, ben, vous êtes vissé dans ma tête comme un écrou sur un boulon. Alors pardonnez-moi cette comparaison quelque peu technique, mais je n'avais aucune intention d'entrer au conservatoire.
Arrêtez de mentir, ça ne prend pas.
Je ne mens pas.
Okay, this is one of the saddest movies I've ever seen. And we'll be talking about a lot of those in this list, but this is definitely one of them. And I'll explain why. It starts off by being a film about oppressed desires, mostly sexual ones, and how this brings anger-induced conflicts with even loved ones, especially the relationship between the main character and the mother, and how it makes her do somewhat unsavory things like peeing outside of a car where a couple is having sex in, and there's a lot of really disturbing scenes in this movie, and this fills her with guilt and inner conflicts because of the type of society she's involved in. She's a piano teacher. She's kind of involved with this really prestige, really sophisticated society, and obviously her actions and her desires really contrast with the whole society that she's a part of. Then she meets this person who accepts her for who she is and what she wants, and he gives it to her. You know, only for her to realize that what she wanted, all this BDSM stuff, all this violent sex acts and whatever, when she finally gets it, she realizes that she never wants it again. She realizes it's much more painful than she thought it was going to be, and she realizes all of the things that she actually wanted is actually something that is totally not what she wanted. And at the end, she realizes the one thing that she really wanted, that plagued her relationships and actions, that ruined her relationship with her mother, that filled her with embarrassment and guilt, that made her act like a hypocrite. You know, all these sexual desires, bringing all of this, was something she never really could have enjoyed. So not only does she hate the person who made her realize this, a person who actually loved her, now she hates him now. So not only does she hate the person who made her realize this, but she hates and blames herself for all the trouble she's gone through. In the end, it's for her to blame. And that the film ends with this scene where all that culminates in this really one quiet moment of self-harm. And it's so powerful in its silence that it really cuts deep. It's a really depressing movie. I'm not sure if I want to recommend it to other people, but it's really good. Isabelle Huppert is amazing, and it's one of the best films of the 21st century, easily. And obviously one of my favorite movies of all time.
I never mix my pies. I want to play too.
Oh, Mr. Barr.
Hey, Fletcher!
Although I enjoy Hollywood epics, part of me gets tired of simply, enjoying the scope of it all. So to me, The Great Race has all the essentials of an epic all epic golden age era Hollywood adventure. But it feels more timeless and it feels more substance full because of its timelessly silly comedy and entertaining bits of filmmaking, and it just ends up as being one of the funniest movies I've ever seen. The epic Looney Tunes level of visual comedy, whether it's the castle that the main antagonist is living in, or Jack Lemmon's acting in general, the constant changes in the setting, adding so much texture and atmosphere to the whole film, adding this sense of a travel, adding this sense of a journey to the whole thing. It makes the film feel bigger and more enjoyable. And these are some of the best performances of these these people's career. God damn it. I'm not gonna be beaten by grammar to this goddamn bullshit. Tony Curtis, perfect straight man. And that's all he really is. Out of the three main characters, he's probably the one with the most least interesting bit of acting, but he's kind of required to be born because he's trying to be the straight man. Now Jack Lemmon, he's having a fucking blast as this cartoon villain. He's amazing. He's obviously just relishing every single moment. He's trying to be like Daffy Duck or whatever. It's just this great over the top performance and I love it. But Natalie Wood, I love Natalie Wood in many different ways, but this just might be her best performance. It's confident, it's feisty, she fights back. There's a scene where she punches a woman in the face and it's amazing, and the pure dedication to the comedy that she gives in this movie is really impressive to watch. Like, in most of her movies, she always plays this sophisticated character, but in this film, she even does the physical comedy. Like, she moves in a really over-the-top way, almost in a theatrical way. She sings in a terrible voice. She's jumping around, she's running around, and like I said, she punches a woman in the face. It's amazing. Especially coming from Natalie Wood, you wouldn't expect that from her. And overall, it's a great film that embraces epic, lush Hollywood production styles with pure cartoony silliness that everybody seems to be on board with. Is it the most silly movie ever made? No. That would be the next film, but this is easily one of the funniest films at the end. Funniest films that was made at the end of the Golden Age era, and everybody should see it, really. Everybody. Especially if you want to see a really surprising performance from Natalie Wood. She really is amazing in this film.